Hello, hello, amigo. ¿Cómo están? Muy buenas tardes. Hello, hello, friends. We are here in a new season from our show, our artificial intelligence show from Punky Tiger Labs. We are talking about the Nymph Tech. That is the new hardware, the new architecture that will convert. Will be the first artificial intelligence hardware of the world. So here today will be with me, my friends Rodney Waterman. He here is to talk about some issues and some subjects about the artificial intelligence professionally. And greetings to all our friends from LinkedIn that are here to listen about this nightmare. $50,000 invoice monthly in tokens to make development. Rodney, how are you, my friend?
I'm very good. Glad to have you. Glad I'm here today. Trying to say, no, you're right. I've seen so many people posting just the last few days about invoices that they're seeing because their token usage is either higher than they expected it to be, or they're just commenting that it's becoming a routine thing. And $50,000 is not an exaggeration at all.
No. I see that post. I see that post.
Yeah.
I see a guy that was saying that he was spending $50,000 in cloud invoices, just one guy doing development, and he has 10 agents working with 10 hands. I don't know who can work like that, but well, he was saying that, right? But anyway,
Right.
We all the people that is doing development is experiencing a lot of problems with the thing that we spend $100 one day or 200, even 300. If you write on Reddit, there are many people talking about how impossible is to use the cloud online for development right now.
Yeah, and it's a great thing. I mean, everybody's using it, but that's the problem. We just keep using it and adding more to it and asking it to do more things. And that means more tokens. And if anybody doesn't realize it, that's what we're paying for, right? Is the token use.
Well, let's listen a video that we made on Notebook to introduce the conversation. And after that, you can put online your question or whenever you want, because it will be very fun and interesting this talking, okay? We go south from the screen and artificial intelligence take control of the life. Okay, we are here.
At the very foundation of the artificial intelligence revolution, a silent economic pressure is building. Now, this isn't about the one-time cost of training massive models. It's about something more fundamental, a recurring expense, the cost of inference. A structural inefficiency is emerging, and it has some pretty significant consequences for the future of this technology. And this isn't some theoretical problem. Across the technical community, we're hearing a consistent story. Founders who are building the next generation of software are running into serious economic friction. At the very foundation, what starts out as a manageable operational cost quickly and often unpredictably escalates into something unsustainable. You can feel this strain at every single scale. This quote here is from just one developer: 5 million tokens. To put that in perspective, that's like processing thousands and thousands of pages of text in a single day. This isn't an outlier, it's a symptom of a much deeper structural issue that's affecting everyone from individual developers to the largest corporations. And when you zoom out to the enterprise level, well, the numbers just become staggering. These aren't edge cases. They're the direct result of integrating AI into continuous, long-running workflows. And the pattern is always the same: unpredictable costs, exponential growth, and a fundamental uncertainty about the economics of scaling this technology. So, this all raises a really central question. What is the source of this friction? Is it just an unavoidable cost of creating intelligence, or is it actually a flaw in the underlying architecture? It turns out the answer lies not in the models themselves, but in the protocols we use to interact with them. The issue is rooted in a core design principle known as stateless architecture. Now, this is a concept that has powered the scalable cloud for years, but it produces a critical side effect when you apply it to artificial intelligence. It's a problem at the structural level. Processed in isolation, that phrase right there, that's the key. Every single time you send a prompt to a large language model, the model has absolutely no memory of your previous interactions. It starts from zero. So to maintain any
this
kind of
friction.
context,
Your
your
system
system
has
has
to
to
package
package up the entire history of the conversation and resend it with every single new query. And this leads to a pretty profound consequence. We're not really having a continuous dialogue with a stateful intelligence. Instead, we are paying the system to reconstruct its entire understanding from scratch with every single turn. It's not remembering, it's being repeatedly reminded of the whole history, and that process is both computationally and economically very expensive. Now, to be clear, this architecture exists for some very valid engineering reasons. It's incredibly effective for scaling traditional web services. It enables things like horizontal scaling, load balancing, and fault tolerance. In fact, it's the very foundation of what we think of as elastic cloud economics. But those benefits introduce a huge cost when the workload becomes cognitive and continuous. So that economic friction that developers are feeling, it is not a bug. It's not a billing error. It is the direct, predictable, mathematical consequence of the stateless model. Okay, let's look at the math. This equation here describes the total number of tokens that get transmitted over a session with n number of turns. The crucial part of this formula is that n-squared relationship. It tells us that the total cost doesn't grow in a straight line, it grows quadratically. And what that means is, as a conversation gets longer, the cost of each new turn gets progressively and very rapidly more expensive. So what does this look like in the real world? Well, in a workflow that averages about 3,000 tokens per turn, a session of just 100 turns will transmit over 15 million tokens. This is how an individual developer burns through 5 million tokens in a day, and it's how an enterprise gets a 5-figure invoice. The cost is structural, it's not accidental. When you put the two models side by side, the impact is crystal clear. In a traditional stateless model, a 20-iteration workflow might burn through 660,000 tokens. An alternative model, one that persists state, could run that same exact workflow using only 60,000 tokens. The difference is an order of magnitude, and it comes entirely from the architectural approach. We can actually describe this problem in precise computer science terms. The stateless model has a computational complexity of O(n) squared, or quadratic growth. A persistent model has a complexity of O(n), or linear growth. This divergence is the real root cause of the economic pressure. As our AI workflows become more complex and more continuous, quadratic cost growth just becomes unsustainable. So, all of this brings us to the solution. If the problem is statelessness, then the solution must be persistence. Let's take a look at an alternative paradigm, what we can call the persistent cognition model. The core principle here is actually quite simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Instead of reconstructing understanding from scratch every time, a persistent system maintains the cognitive state in memory. So then, only the delta, the new information, needs to be transmitted. The system isn't being reminded of the past, it's simply processing the present. And I want to be really clear about this. This is not a simple software fix. It requires a fundamental shift right down at the hardware level. A persistent system needs memory that's co-located with compute. It requires extremely low latency interconnects to maintain that state coherence across the entire system. And it needs structured methods to encapsulate and migrate that state. The optimization target itself changes, from just raw arithmetic to the efficient evolution of contexts. You know, when we start to consider all of these requirements, we realize this isn't just an improvement we're talking about. It represents a potential shift in the history of computation itself. We can really view the history of computing in epochs. The first was the CPU, which was optimized for serial processing. The second was the GPU, which mastered parallel processing. We are now entering what you could call a third epoch, one that requires a new class of hardware, one designed not for serial or parallel math, but for the efficient management of persistent cognitive state. For the past several years, the race in AI has been all about scale, just building larger and larger models. But we may be reaching the economic limits of that approach. We realize this isn't just the next great leap forward in artificial intelligence may not come from the size of the model, but from the intelligence of the architecture that runs it.
Very interesting, very interesting. I hope that the people did understand a little, but if didn't, doesn't matter because we will talk about it, right, Rodney?
Yeah, sure will.
Well, the problem is that you start with a question, oh, how is the weather in Berlin? Something that maybe is useless, maybe something that you can ask in Google, but doesn't matter. The people has right now ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, so they do that. Oftenly they do on Google. Right now they are using artificial intelligence, but the problem is that every time you keep that conversation in the same window, the larger of the context is every time larger and larger and larger and larger. And if you add pictures, if you add a screenshot of this guy told me this, I have this document, I have these pictures, I have this address, it's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And, you know, people use it in all kinds of different ways, right? I mean, some people use it kind of like a super search engine, right? And so they may be asking random questions, different ways, different kinds of information. And so the model doesn't really have any way at all to keep up with any kind of a flow. And maybe there's not one. But then you've got people who are really trying to focus on something specific. I mean, it could be as simple as planning a vacation, but it could also be planning a business, right? And so you're going through all these iterations, and it just builds and builds and builds. And if it's not keeping up with you, there's no telling what you'll get after a couple of hours of work.
Well, for all the people that is using right now ChatGPT in browser or is using any artificial intelligence in a browser, every time you change subject, it's very difficult for the artificial intelligence, for the LLM, understand if that information is relevant or not. He tried to understand all that information. If you say subject 3 times, 4 times in the same window, if the same window has 100 iterations, it is very complicated, it's very messy, and that is the reason because but not that, but that is one of the main reasons because hallucinate, because it's very difficult to maintain consistency when the person don't has consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure does. You know, I'm reminded that about a year ago, I have a koi pond, you know, koi fish in a pond, small pond. And I was asking questions to try to understand how to balance this out because it's new to me. And it was when I was fairly new at using some of the LLMs. It's over a year ago, but I was surprised at the fact that one, it forgot what it told me a few days ago, right? And then further, when I was asking another question at the time, it actually brought something into the conversation about the koi pond. And I'm like, why would even this come up, right? Because it's all fragmented.
But it's strange at the same time because we understand what is the real problem. Mm-hmm. Nobody's saying what is the real problem. Mm-hmm. That is strange because if they know what is the real problem, why don't talk? Why don't educate to the users how to use properly? The people, they are just pushing to the people to use this like a comfort for feelings, for information, for anything. They want to. We are connected to this like we was on Facebook, like we was all the day. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, you said for comfort. I mean, sometimes people want an answer, and it'll give them an answer for sure. It just may not always be right.
Well, we are watching a graph about the problem and the token burn. The token burn is a real problem. We talk a lot about the Fortnite case. If we connect a game to the artificial intelligence from just one company probably will spend 70% of the energy of the world. This is a large problem, and right now is going that, and just the most advanced user, the most hardcore user are noticing. The public doesn't notice yet. But in the traditional cloud model, the stateless, the problem that this is all unorganized, spend a lot of tokens. If you do 20 iteration, you spend 66,000 tokens. If you keep that conversation 100 iterations, you are talking about 15 millions of tokens. So it's crazy. And this is not controlled by a prompt. It is impossible to control by a prompt. A prompt even create larger problems because one of the problems that we have with that in mind.
What was that?
That we have with that in mind is when we try to do a prompt, we organize a very large prompt that spend at least 2,000 tokens, 5,000 tokens, just that prompt. Just that prompts calls to a lot of information. So are very expensive, the professional prompting that everybody's talking right now.
Yeah. I mean, so doing prompts well is important. I mean, it does make things more efficient, right? You don't even have as many iterations, but a very efficient prompt is also going to give you a strong response, and the strong response has lots of tokens. And what is ironic is that the LLM companies are saying, we'll open up the context window even larger so that you.
Hi, Luca.
Of course they want you to have more tokens because that costs more money.
Yes. The problem about the token is that the quantity that you're using of tokens at the same time, it's a problem. Right now, I will tell you something that is very, very hard to say. Many people maybe is listening to me and will think this guy is totally crazy, but I must say it, Rodney. I must say it. I want to tell you, we will never have artificial intelligence movies. Never, ever. Why?
I was about to ask you why you say that. Yeah.
You can guess, Rodney. You understand, right? Because we will never have artificial intelligence movies.
Well, never is always a difficult word, but I'll bet we're going with how expensive that would be to make.
Yeah, we are talking about 5 billion tokens to create a movie, manage it at the same time, because to keep the consistency, you must to define every scene, every character, every cloth, and you must to put all in the same token, all in the same algorithm. It is impossible. You can't manage that size of algorithms. When you reach 5 millions or something like that, any model crash because can manage so large amount of tokens. And that is one of the problems that we have because we have consistency. Right now, we have a large problem with OpenClaw, by example.
Yeah, OpenClaw is powerful, but people are finding out really fast about the security issues. And when you open up lots of agents and they're all running, now you're generating tokens exponentially.
Yeah, and one of the large problems that has OpenClaw that is amazing. I am using obviously, and I recommend to use, but you must be very smart to use because it's really a pain in the ass. It's a machine to burn tokens. It's a machine gun to burn tokens. We are talking about because the right problem with the OpenClaw is OpenClaw try to manage context, but don't manage content. It is fake because it's taking notes and is adding a lot of notes to the data that you are sending to the LLM. So you are not just sending what you are sending. At the same time, you are sending a lot of information to look smarter, to look that remember, to look that understand, that really don't understand, really don't remember, really is not a stable state. Is faking that stable state with software. So people believe that software can solve this problem. Not software just make this problem larger, Rodney.
Now you have this picture in my mind I have of a lobster with a machine gun shooting out tokens. So,
Well, OpenClaw is great and it's amazing. It's the right direction. But at the same time, we have a real problem because if we want to manage context, if we want artificial intelligence agents that understand things, that remembers things, it is very expensive. We can manage, but we have a solution that some people is understanding that we need a more stable cognitive layer. And that is amazing for us because this week everybody start to talk about the cognitive layer. That is something that we explained 1 year ago when we do start the company. We do register more than 70 patents related to artificial intelligence, and we are preparing to launch the first real artificial intelligence hardware of the world. The first real, because artificial intelligence is about cognitive process. It's not about math, and the people don't understand that it's not about math.
Yeah, well, that math side has a place, right? It's just that people were trying to use it to fix a problem they didn't even know they had, really.
Yeah, the problem that we have, I am trying to keep the image on the screen. The problem that we have with the cognitive layer that doesn't exist is that we are working with this chat GPT, this artificial intelligence in browsers, so we don't have a cognitive layer. They are faking that cognitive layer using tokens and spending tokens. But if you have a cognitive layer by software or by hardware, you can keep a better understanding about what you are doing and don't lose so much information. And at the same time, if you have a cognitive layer managed by a hardware, that is the real solution. When you interact with artificial intelligence, you don't need to launch everything all the times because the understanding is kept by a layer that keep the consistency on your work in your computer in local. So that is a very good solution to improve the work of the artificial intelligence online.
Yeah, and that's from what I see, that's what people were really needing. And if we didn't do more than we're doing today, then it wouldn't be such a big deal. But that outlook of the future and how many agents are getting spun up every day, and the more people use it and the more those agents are running 24/7, it will just get to be more and more and more. And like you said with the machine gun analogy, it's just going to blow tokens through like you've never seen before.
And this is a problem that is just starting. This will be a nightmare. No, we don't understand how large can be this problem in 2 years. We are just starting. We are not. How much hardcore user we have in artificial intelligence? 1 million.
What?
1 million people.
Oh yeah.
So very few people.
Yeah.
So very few people that is really using artificial intelligence. What will happen with the 20% of the world will be using artificial intelligence? And we are prepared to train these people to use artificial intelligence in the right way?
Well, if they're not using it in the right way, it will get so expensive, they'll stop using it. And that's not the right direction either.
Well, and a small tips to everybody that is watching. I believe that all the professionals understand, but I can say you first, you must be very clear what you want to talk with the artificial intelligence, and you must be very clear if that can be replaced by another method or in another way. If you can use an app or use Google, it is better. So you save your tokens for the real hardcore interference that you want to do. So you must to create a role and don't need to create a prompt. Everybody's talking about prompts, but not all the magic is on the prompt. It's something that is on discussion, because it's better when the same manager of the project understand the project. So the people wants to make the prompt outside the artificial intelligence and believe that artificial intelligence understand that prompt. And sometimes they believe a larger prompt is better, and it's not. It's not, because it's crazy, because 25 ideas that you have on your mind,
Mhm.
and can keep that stability.
Yeah.
The recommendation is that has one subject by window. Just talk one thing on that window. No more things. Don't interrupt with other subject. That is the better advice that I can give you for now. I normally do training in the Spanish market, but I didn't still in English. But that is the best way to use artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's a great point. Larger is not always better, right? It's making sure you get that right.
Yeah, the problem is that we have a lot of users on artificial intelligence right now, but most of them are developers, are
Mhm.
programmers, are
Yeah.
very trained people, and even that people is using very wrong. When we was talking in the previous about 5 million take tokens daily, that is the normal. The normal is 5 million, and most of the people is using 15 millions every day. It's a lot. It's a lot, and the hardcore users are over 100 millions every day.
Yeah, that number is going to, the number of people using that many every day is going to keep increasing, just because it's going to get easier and easier to use. We'll learn it better and understand more how to use it, what we can get out of it. So it will just continue to grow.
And this is a very good business for the people that is managing this. And that is one of the reasons, because they are not so interested in to train to the people, in to teach to the people how to use car in a right way. That required more data center, more internet, more servers, more hardware, and more and more and more and more. And we understand at the same time there are 1,040 50 million computers at home that are not doing anything, because people just prefer to do everything online, Rodney.
Yeah, and they have to find a different way.
Yeah. One of the solutions that many people have right now, and is talking online, it is set up local artificial intelligence. Oyama, Mistral, they are right now, they are options, but are not so good yet. I understand. I love artificial intelligence local. I am a very um, political guy about it, because I do believe in decentralized economy and finance and digital things, and at the same time decentralized artificial intelligence, that means local. But we don't have yet so good local artificial intelligence. Claude Opus 4.6 and OpenAI really has an advantage yet.
Yeah, there's a great place for the local specialized models, right? Where you're really not going to go out of the narrow range of what you're trying to accomplish. But once you get outside of that range, it starts breaking down a little bit. So um, a hybrid model is ideal.
Yeah. Right now, you can set up an artificial intelligence local, and probably our hardware will help a lot about the people that is trying to do local developments, especially to the people that is using agents and is
Hmm.
using local and even
Hmm.
browser, because we are
Yeah.
we are building here in our company is the cognitive layer. That is our fight. That is our flag. That is what we
Mhm.
want that the market understand. And this is very interesting, because some people fight with me online saying that we don't need more hardware because we have GPU, Rodney. What you will say to them?
Well, the GPU, that's going to really speed up the math portion of everything, but we're not talking about a need for more math. We're not talking about a need for faster math. We're talking about a need for a consistent cognitive state. We're talking about, those types of things. And it's really a different conversation. And people who say, well, we don't need new hardware, they just don't understand what they're lacking, and where this new AI-based hardware is really going to help the most.
Well, the proof that GPU are not for artificial intelligence. You know what it is, Rodney?
What is that?
If you add 3 GPU card in your computer, doesn't work better. If
The,
you
the
add
things we've been talking about today are still happening, even if
if you add
have.
more power,
That's right.
if you have more speed, doesn't solve the problem. You will be spending a lot of tokens, you will be crashing, you will be having hallucination, you will be having the same problem. If you use the most advanced GPU at the market, you will have the same problems that you has with lower hardware. That is one of the reasons, because people say, oh no, this is so cheap because you can solve everything with very cheap. It's not real. The problem is that you don't understand that you need a new hardware, a new kind of hardware, a new kind of architecture that is built for that. That a hardware specialized means that can solve the token burning problem. A real hardware can solve hallucination, not totally, but reduce. A real hardware can improve the context. That is artificial intelligence hardware. If your hardware doesn't do that, it's not artificial intelligence hardware, period.
Yeah, we need to go through a little bit of a paradigm shift, because right now people are accepting a certain percentage of hallucinations. They're accepting how much it costs them. They're accepting these things that, well, that's just the AI world, so I guess that's what I have to accept. But we need to shift, and everybody recognize that there is a new level that they can expect with hardware anchored AI intelligence, where it moves them to another level.
Well, my friends, we are launching NymphTech. Everybody knows that this is the streaming from our company. I am sharing with you the information about NymphTech.com. That is the company that we are running. This is the first cognitive hardware company of the world, for real. Most of the companies that are working on artificial intelligence are not so real because they are working on NPU. NPU is just some kind of cheap GPU. What we are proposing is something totally different that solves and helps to improve the artificial intelligence for real. And that we explain, it's not we believe, we explain that is the real artificial intelligence hardware. You can find more information on our website, the 6 core pillars, and a lot of the information you can find on our websites. And if you are part of a company that is doing development, you want to try new hardware, new solutions, you are an investor, you are for a civic funds or some marketing company that is working in this area, we are very interested to meet with you and know more about what you are doing. We are launching NYMPH 1.1 simulated quantum. It's based in mathematical quantum for real, and that helps a lot to improve the speed and the consistency of the company, of the work on artificial intelligence. You can press here, join waitlist, and you can put your email here, and you can connect with us. Or you can try to look for the information, contact information, and you can connect with Rodney or myself or with the other executives of the company. This is an American company. We are from Burbank, California, and we are working with 2 Chinese partners that are doing development. And at the same time, we are working in all the applied artificial intelligence, Rodney.
Yeah, very good. I'm glad that you mentioned the wait list. I think that people are excited about that and about being able to keep up with progress and when the product is available too. So that's no obligation. Just jump on that wait list and put your name in there. Been great talking to you today, Alvar.
We are launching very soon to the App Store 2 apps that are related to the market that we study. The first one is the Watcher. The Watcher is an application for iOS, for your iPhone, that follow the the USDC that will be very relevant at the future. A lot of information that nobody put ever in the same place. We connect very advanced, so you know where is flowing the money. So many people is interested on this in the market. We are launching this application, and we are launching so amazing application, Rodney. Bullshit meter. Well, Bullshit Meter is an advanced application that helps you to evaluate if a text or a document has hallucination, was made with artificial intelligence. It's not a problem. Make obviously projects or products with artificial intelligence. We all do, but the problem is that some people is using in a very bad way artificial intelligence just to create documents that are not so realistic, full of buzzwords, hallucination. So what we measure on Bullshit Meter is the consistency of the work that will be a very relevant subject of the future, very close future, because we are flooded of documents and projects and companies, and many of them are just hallucination. 99%. This probably will be worse than the .com bubble.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's just so much noise and hype, and everybody wanting to jump in, that it is difficult sometimes to recognize what's real, what's not real, and what actually has some credibility. So appreciate that.
When you manage very well the cognitive layer, you can improve a lot your consistency. You can avoid hallucination. You can keep a more control of what you share or not. And you can send to the LLM just information that needs to improve your work, and avoid to launch millions and millions of tokens of words that complicate to the LLM online. And at the same time, if you work offline, you can improve the speed of creation of tokens, and you can improve the consistency offline at the same time. When we are launching, Rodney?
When?
When?
Well, into March, 1st April, something like that, right?
Yeah, we are expecting at the end of March start to show here the first prototypes. We sending prototypes to influencers, geek masters, people that is relevant in the market, that is interested in our product, distributors. So you can connect with us to understand more about it. And we will be here every week talking about artificial intelligence, the real problems of the developers. You probably are very interested on this issue. So keep online, share, put your finger, your likes, everything,
yeah, thumbs up. Everything's good. Yeah, as soon as that Chinese New Year gets over, we can move a little faster, right?
Yes, we're waiting for our Chinese partners that come from vacations. That is the reason, because we are just messing around here and boring you. But anyway, I do believe that you like our conversation. Obviously, it's our company streaming, but I do believe it's very interesting, the subject, and understand the kind of solution that we have. There are no one software solution for this problem. You can try a software solution. You can try use lower quality models that are cheaper. I don't know if that's a solution, Rodney.
Yeah. Well, everybody's trying something because they know that they need to. So
yeah, it is impossible to work in the way that is costing right now.
Yeah, that's why the wait list is there, so they can be following that progress and be ready for this product when it launches.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. Hello to my friends, Luca. Hi, Luca. How are you?
Hi, Luca. And everybody else out there. Great to have you.
Yeah, in any moment that you're seeing this, greetings and thank you for being online. Thank you so much. Bye, Rodney. See you.
Bye.
Nos vemos. Bye, my friends.